Yo, Ryan Hart here. Welcome to the Always Better Than Yesterday podcast channel. These are the interview sessions where I put my curious questions to inspiring people with one goal in mind, to help you be better than you were yesterday in your heart and in your mind. While you're here spending time with us, I'd love it if you subscribed, leave a like, or maybe drop a comment below with letting us know some of your thoughts on the interview. Please do share it with someone that you'd love to help be better too. John, welcome to the Always Better Than Yesterday podcast, my friend. How are you?
Hi, Ryan. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am very well. I'm very well. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I know we both share a heart for helping people do what they love. I came across you and your work and your Fuck It series, shall we say, through is it your third book, Do What You Love?
I don't know, actually. I don't know what number it is. It's been six. Four that took me a long time to write, and two that didn't take so long to write because they were mainly little lines and drawings. But yeah, Do What You Love a few years ago, and yeah, bang on it.
I've done a little bit of research, and I know that you have your own kind of fuck it moment, do what you love, around about 2001. But tell us a little bit about life leading up to that moment. Just give us a sense of your life, who you were, and what you were doing at the time.
Sure. Yeah, I was a creative. Well, the guy around me. So I'm married to Gaia Polini. So we do a lot of our stuff together. And we met in an advertising agency. So we were both creatives in London in the 1990s, creating things like ads for Pot Noodle, most interestingly, probably, and the AA. And we both shared an interest in alternative stuff. Mm-hmm. So she was into counselling and therapy, and I was into things like qigong. And we both pretty much liked the job that we were doing. It's quite a cool job. But we wanted to do more of this stuff, more of practicing it ourselves and helping other people with learning how to relax and let go and be more themselves and do what they love. Yeah. So we hopped it really. And yeah, 2000, you're right, 2001, our twin boys were born. And within 6 months, we were thinking let's move on and so we packed everything into a camper van and left for Italy because Guy is Italian. And so we went to try and find a big bit of land and a rundown place to set up a retreat center, which is kind of what we did.
It's so funny because, like, I'm reading on the website, 2001, Guy gives birth to your two sons, and then John leaves work 1 month later. You think that's so counter, like, because you talk about, when you talk about do what you love, there's this response of yes, but, and children and mortgages are probably top of that list. Certainly was top of my list. Like, why was that different for you? Why was it 1 month after they were born, then you just decided to go?
It was mainly because I wasn't sleeping. I found it incompatible to work and to have young children, and I don't know how anybody does it. It's like I was going into, if I remembered, because in that business you work in teams of two, and the person I was working with a couple of years before our boys were born, he'd had with his partner a new child, a baby. And he'd come in the morning, and in that business, you get in at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And he'd come in and and I'd be there gearing up from my relaxed, nice life and just kind of going, oh, here we go then, kind of let's get going. And he'd come in and he'd slump into the chair and go, oh, thank God. And it was like a relief for him to come to work. And I was like, wow, plan, this is a different life. And our experience was, I mean, we were sleeping. We got a massive bed made for us and the twins. We were sleeping with the boys, and they were disturbed at night. It was just insane. So I can't do this. So I left work.
You obviously then go on to write your first couple of books and hosting retreats out in Italy. The Hill That Breathes in 2011, I understand, was given European Retreat of the Year. And again, there's this sense that in the same year you closed it. You're just so counter. Like, I'm really intrigued by why did you close it?
Well, overall, I'm probably quite a contrary person. I mean, I prefer to go in the opposite direction.
Sure.
People have said that. It's interesting. Even just going to Italy, I think a lot of people, when we went to Italy and whenever it was to set up the place, in the end was 2004 when we moved. It's like loads of people were coming from Italy to England, to London to work. I mean, there's a massive amount of Italians in London over those years that we were in Italy. And then we've actually come back to the UK in this, a year ago, just over a year ago, when everybody's going in the opposite direction, because mainly because of Brexit. But so that kind of happens. I mean, the reason we closed it was because it was really hard work. You're probably seeing a theme here. Really hard work means get out. It was really, really hard work running a center.
Yeah.
And it was successful. And, in terms of the money, it was that we were at the bit where it was really doing very well money wise. If I look back at the accounts now, I'd kind of go, were you insane? Because that's the moment where it really starts to make money, a business like that, if you're doing well. But no, we couldn't do it anymore. We couldn't do the thing of we had 8 staff, I think. And, even though I wasn't working that much in the business at that point, because we had 8 staff, it was still a lot of responsibility, a lot of stress. What we wanted to do was really just hang out more and just share what we do. We share what we think about and what we do, which is ideas like fuck it, and ideas of how for other people to kind of do more. That's the idea of fuck it. It's like, don't bother so much. Don't take everything so seriously. Do more what you fancy and relax a bit more.
Yeah. And so I completely buy into that. But for the skeptics, what are some of the yes buts that you hear all the time?
Well, it's fuck it in general would be, in fact, just as I think about this, I remember somebody, excuse me, early on, it may well have been the first fuck it week that we taught, because that's how this all started. In the first year of doing retreats in 2004, we said to somebody, it's probably a good idea if you say fuck it to this and say fuck it to that. And they said, it's really great. So we decided to run a retreat. So I ran this first retreat. And then that, I think I'm pretty sure it was that first week. And we were doing it in a massive teepee on this hill, on the hill that we had, the hill that was breathing. And I was chatting away about the ideas. So we were developing the ideas of what can this mean? What could it mean as a philosophy, as a way of living, to say fuck it to things. So I was saying, you could say fuck it to this. It's like, what about this? Blah, blah, blah. And somebody got that. I know it was. Somebody got up and she actually came back to a couple of retreats later on. But she got up and she storms out, Piers Morgan style.
Yeah.
Screaming, it's so fucking irresponsible, this.
Yeah.
And it's that thing. So what about people, you got a fucking mortgage and you the suggestion is not to just say fuck it and give everything up and just sit in front of the telly. That is not the suggestion. And that's why, when you can get a lot from reading the front of the book, any of the books, they say fuck it and then something else. But it's more, that's why I'm writing a lot about it, because it's a relatively sophisticated idea. And the idea is really tuning into what we would like to do, tuning into ourselves more, listening to ourselves more. So it's rooted in quite, the wisdom of the East, or our own wisdom of needing to listen to ourselves more rather than listening to the world out there.
It's interesting because I think, that fuck it, those words come out of our mouth when we're either about to do something brave, do something courageous, to do something, or even just to give ourselves some peace. And my sister, she's due to get married. It's been, the event's been on hold for due to COVID. There's been some issues with the venue that meant that, again, just wasn't able to have the wedding this year. And last night she said the words, fuck it. And I think it kind of links to the title of your new book, which is about accepting, I don't want to get it wrong, let me read it, is be at peace with life as it is. And I guess, how true has that been with the last 12 months in the world, in the UK, with everything that's going on? Are you really seeing an uptake in your services and your books because of the book that you wrote in 2018?
Well, there's certainly people are very responsive to the kind of messages that we've been sharing for a long time in this last year. Yeah, and in fact, when the pandemic started, so pretty much this time last year in February, March 2020, we both suddenly felt like, my goodness, we're kind of needed now more than ever.
Yeah,
it's like that we've got a message here, which is like, calm down. He's like, calm the fuck down. It's going to be okay. We have to take it step by step, a whole range of things. And, we set up an online thing called Tough Times Therapy.
Yeah.
That we had, I can't remember how many people, 100 people or something. And it was brilliant for them and for us to go through 12 weeks, early 12 weeks of it, just tuning in every week, coming together and talking about it and seeing what we can do and sharing ideas, what we can do. So, the heart of these ideas, like ideas that you're talking about and you're sharing, they do work. It does work. Of course, we can misinterpret it and take it in a completely mad direction. But and you said it just then about the two directions of fuck it, which is what we're talking about. And a lot of my grounding is, as well as in Buddhism, it's in Taoism. And in Taoism, you have the energy of the yang energy and you have the yin energy, the kind of going out and getting it, and then the yin, which is like giving up and relaxing and slowing down. And like in Taoism, you need both energies. You need day coming after night. You don't want an endless night, but neither do you want an endless day. You don't want an endless summer. I've lived in a place where the summer is quite long. I wouldn't like it to be endless. I like a bit of winter. And it's the same in our life. So fuck it. I want to do that. Yeah, come on, let's set up the business. Let's do that. Let's go out with a message. That is a great energy, like yang, powerful. Boom, let's just show, even the, selfish motives. Let's make loads of money. There's a blah to that. And then the other side of it is like, this is too much. This is causing me pain. We're working too hard. It's stressing me out. I'm too attached to this. I'm just in this relationship that's not working. Fuck it. Boom. Yin. Yeah.
One of the spiritual practices that has never been my best friend, but I'm really working on, is surrender.
Yeah.
And you talked, I understand, if I understand this right, you said fuck it to a chronic illness and it healed. Was that an act of surrender?
It really was. I mean, the kind of early fuck it moments, that was a really significant one for me. And it was. And I understand, the issues around something like surrender and acceptance as ideas. But in practice, when they actually happen, there's a kind of reality to it that's very powerful. But yeah, that was me. I suffered from allergies and a variety of kind of, asthma, eczema when I was very young. And then as an adult as well. And part of the reason of going to Italy, and I sometimes forget this, part of the reason going from this damp climate was to heal, really, in the hope that I'd be better. I seemed to be better when it was dry and sunny. So that was part of the reason. And so we went out, we did everything. We borrowed loads of money, set up this thing and went there. And I wasn't getting better. I was actually getting more sick. Take the family over there. And so, yeah, there was a moment where I'm kind of going, I was standing in the bathroom in the retreat center where we were living within the center, and I was looking in the mirror kind of going, oh, it's just hopeless. You've done all this and everything. You pulled everybody out here. We've done this and you just sit. What's the fucking point, really? What was that all about? And then there's just like a switch where I went, well, not that bad, is it? It's sunny every day. You're with your family, you got your kids. It's really lovely. Your job is just to have dinner parties with people all the time and just laugh with people, which is kind of what I like doing. It's not that bad. And in the end, it's not like you can't, it's not terrible, you're honest. It's uncomfortable. Sometimes you can't sleep. Sometimes you look strange, but it's not terrible. Go on. And so what happened, I kind of surrendered the idea of getting better. That's what happened. I kind of went, because my desire was always to be fully well. There's a whole idea in the kind of holistic health, which is you need to be whole and well. All those same word, isn't it? It's all related to the same word, which is like something that I couldn't achieve.
Yeah.
I couldn't be well holistic, that I was sick. And then I went, well, fuck it. I went, okay, so I'm sick. It's not bad life. In fact, it's pretty good. And that's surrendering. And then, yeah, within a couple of weeks, I was getting better. And within 6 months, I was completely well in a way that I hadn't been for probably 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've continued to be. So that's 15 years ago. And I've continued to be largely well ever since. I still have an underlying illness, which is allergic to shit, but but I'm generally very well, including back in this damp climate.
Yeah, I love that. And you're bringing it back to the book, Do What You Love. I think something that I'm a practical man too. I love the steps and the methods and the frameworks that you put around these concepts. And something you share that I'm equally keen to tell people is about do more of what you love and less of what you don't. Why is it important to do less of what you don't love?
It's interesting, this. I mean, I've got a debate going on all the time about this because, and I know people, I know coaches I talk to often who are very into the idea. I'm thinking of one person in particular who is very into the idea of always listening to what you need, what I need, what is needed, and only working from that. It's like what is needed from here every day, only working from that, not doing anything else. Otherwise, it's watching. I need to go and watch the telly. I'll watch the telly. That's kind of what I've been teaching for a long time, which is like constantly tuning in. But my reality of my life is I can't do that, actually. That's the truth. And I am always trying to refine, so I'm generally doing mainly what I like doing. But it seems to be for me, and this is why I have interesting debates with people like that, it seems to be that, and with like business as well, there's almost always stuff that's kind of, you've got to get in and do it. So it's a little bit like relaxation to me in terms of the concept, in that it's not that I relax and then I'm relaxed for the rest of my life. So the relaxing is a verb. It's not a noun. It's not a state. It's not a noun I get to, then I'm there. And so the doing what you love thing is that. It's like, it's not that I do what I love, but I'm doing what I love for the rest of my life. It's a constant thing of like, okay, this week, what do I need to do, and what do I like doing, and trying to get that right.
What about those people that have got so lost in their life that they don't realize or don't know what they love? What's your advice to those people?
Yeah, I mean, there's I'll have to get the book out for the exact exercises that I recommended. But it is true, you do, there are, yeah, and we have had people on the retreats over the years when we'd say things like, do what you fancy, or, do what other go, well, I don't know anymore. Yeah. And you're right, you kind of, it's a little bit like there's the same process that goes on kind of around us as people, isn't there? Which is we somehow, I mean, Gaia's work is, she's a therapist and she teaches being me therapy. That's her thing. That's her what she teaches in one-to-ones and everything else. And in terms of being me and being myself, a lot of us find ourselves down through our lives, whatever, in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, kind of going, whew, and then remembering a bit of how we were, and going, how did that happen? I'm kind of not like that anymore. I've forgotten what I was like. I've forgotten what I like. I've forgotten what I do. Because I used to play the piano. I used to love dancing. It's like I've done it for years. So it's like, so it's exactly what you say. We almost get drifted down this river of life. It takes us off in places that we wouldn't really fancy doing, whatever it is. It might be the obligations of life that do it. Yeah. So it is really a necessary process then to take a step back and do the kind of the work of trying to work out what we like doing.
I've been very fortunate enough to say that I love what I do for a number of years, and my wife's always looked over the fence with a little bit of envy. And this year she's really started to do more of what she loves, which is create an art, do art. And the funny thing is that the minute the mind engages with some sort of expectation, well, how can I create a business of this? Or how can I sell this? Or what if I have to do X, Y, and Z? It draws away from the sheer love of creation. And is that something you see and hear much?
Yeah, I do. I'm thinking of one person in particular who he he loves photography and he loves taking photos. It's been his passion all his life. But he never did it as a business, and then never would do it as a
Mm,
business because for him there was this idea of there's your passion and your love, and there's work, and the work thing can then and that can pollute. They can pollute each other. Now
mm,
I've never had that, and I'm happy to kind of try to make a living out of the things that I really like doing. You know, I had a go at trying to make a living out of making music, which I really like doing. Things so
mhm,
I will do that. So I'm not. I don't have that reluctance. But what I see is that, of course, it does change it. You know, there's going to be if you're trying to make a living out of making art,
mm,
it's not just sitting there in the pure creative space every day creating art. It's not. There's a kind of roughness for most people for setting up a business and for
mm,
making a living, being like the entrepreneurial side of it. I'm afraid to say that for many of us, there's a roughness to it. There's a it means working hard and overcoming lots of problems
mm.
and facing challenges and it's like and then facing disappointments,
Yep.
things not working and then trying to make them work and being pulled into that. And so but that's how it is, and that's what happens when you merge the two things. So it's kind of a yes and no, this, isn't it?
Mm. Why do you think doing what you love takes courage?
Because I suppose because um, we're often swimming against some tide. Yeah, I mean, um, unless one is very lucky. And I mean, the world has changed as well so much in the last 20 years. I was going to say, if one's very lucky and you can find the kind of traditional job where you're purely in love with it and love the work, fair enough. But it generally means doing what you love often means kind of creating something yourself, creating a kind of lifestyle around it, which is, I mean, similar. I mean, pandemic aside, or
Mm.
maybe pandemic allowing, because it's allowed a lot of people to kind of do online stuff as well.
Yep.
But
Yep.
pandemic aside, society is more supporting of the kind of freelance. It's interesting. I just a little thought on it is that we've kind of. And where are you from? Where in the country are you from?
Wiltshire,
Where's that?
southwest near Stonehenge.
Ah, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Lovely. Really nice. Um, I'm kind of pitching myself further north and thinking about the where I come from, like Nottingham, Derby, South
Hmm.
Derbyshire, where the Industrial Revolution started, pretty
Hmm.
much, and we went from. So this is the peculiar thing for me that I'm seeing over the last couple of 100 years. We went from uh, a cottage, literally cottage industry, didn't we, where people were just making their clothes on their
Hmm.
hand by hand or on little looms in their cottages, to the factories and industrialization, to the economies of scale. And then we are living through the effects of industrialization, where there's kind of en masse, everything's done en masse.
Mm.
And then we've been working for big companies for the last whatever 50, 100 years, and then working in service in big companies or smaller but bigger companies. And now lots of us are going back into our own little cottages,
Mm.
literally into our own houses and cottages, and
Mm.
providing our own thing again. So, and I know there's the big stuff out there. There's the mammoth. There's the monsters out there.
Hmm.
But there's also this incredible opportunity, and the opportunity of the technology to actually go. Well, I do like art. I do like photography. What I love is playing the violin. You know, our son's one of them's a musician,
Hmm.
a guitarist. He writes music.
Yep.
And they still in the college, they're still looking at the traditional models. But I can sit there and go, well, to set up a membership site, teach people how to play the guitar, to set up a membership site and write a song for people every week.
Mm.
You know, there's 100 now. There's 1,000 ways make a living from what we love now.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're saw on your YouTube channel. I saw the "Fuck It" anthem and had a little listen to that. And yeah, what's the I my son is we read similar books together around kind of leadership and mindset and health and well-being and mindfulness. And
How old is your son?
he's 8, so yeah, so
Wow.
I'm trying to raise him in a way that it's not like he's a little protege. It's not like a little mini me like I'm trying to mold, but I'm also trying to teach him, about what it means to be a Hartley, values and things like that. How has it been raising 2 boys under a "Fuck It" banner?
It's interesting how little really they understood of it, I think, explicitly and intellectually. So I think for a long time, they didn't really know what we were doing. We never kind of involved them in any practices. I mean, what we were doing was just living the life. We lived the life of doing what we like, and, being open and curious and everything else, and doing what we fancy. We never sat there and we never did meditation with them or qigong or anything with them. We'd see weird people in the teepee doing meditation, but we never did it with them. So they didn't really get it actually. But what there was a kind of a sensibility within the house. So I remember the first time one of them got it it was about his homework. It was like, I don't know how old he was, maybe 12 or something. And he goes, I really can't, I just can't do this homework. It's not important. I'm understanding for the first time your "fuck it" idea, Dad. And I went, oh no.
Yeah.
What have I created?
Yeah. Goes back to school and Dad says I can fuck it, do what I like instead. Yeah. That's class. I really like that.
But they really are. I mean, our boys, they're 19 and they're now at university, just gone back. One doing film and one doing music. One's a director, film director, the one's as I say, a songwriter. And they're really great guys. And they have no reluctance in following their passion. That is a testament in some way to our environment we've had as a family. And I mean, I know what to do to help them, to support them in making some pounds or dollars from what they do. But the main thing is they're just there. One of them's wanted to create great short films and wants to do it on his own. He wants to do independent films. He doesn't want to be part of, a big thing, the studio. And the other one just wants to make great music. So, yeah.
I love that. Yeah. You share a concept in the book about finding the virus, and obviously you wrote the book 2016, but that's a very topical subject now. What is the relevance of finding the virus when it comes to doing what you love?
I don't recall what I meant by finding the virus. Was I talking about the viral ideas?
Spreads, it's the spread. And I think it's what you were just touching on there around the fact that you've role modeled the life, to your kids.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was talking a little bit about it's a weird mix, isn't it? When we're setting off trying to make a living from doing what we love, as well as just doing what we love. And by the way, the other side of that, this is a kind of a brackets, is loving what we do, which is your kind of a bit more in the surrender territory, which is like, this is what I do, and which is kind of what I play with a lot of the time. It's like, well, I do have to do the profit and loss bit of my business. So I to sit with that and to be in it and to love it, or at least like it and be in it, is an important part of it. But the viral thing, if we're going to want to make a living from doing what we love, it's a process of kind of understanding what we love and what we're passionate about. And it's good if we're good at it as well. That kind of helps to be good at that. So for you to be good as a coach and a leader, and on things like, to be a host and things like this is clearly important. If you were rubbish here, it wouldn't work. If you were shouting at me, it wouldn't work. So, so we got to be good. We got to tune into the passion, and then to get out there, it's really worth tuning into things that will catch with people, that will catch people's attention and then spread. Because the best way, I mean, I'm very into the idea of real kind of pull marketing rather than push marketing for any business, which is it's much better if people come to you rather than you banging on their doors. Most people, if you can get people to come out their doors and meet you somewhere, and they want to find out where you are, rather than banging on their door saying, "Look what I've got." So that's the idea there, and that tends to come. That an essential part of that is our heart being involved in it. When our heart's in it, but there's also another intellectual element, which is, what will catch here, and so just have an awareness of that. What's gonna, and it's like even going when we can go back to pubs, talk to other people. It's like if you mention an idea to a group of friends and they go, "Yeah, that sounds good," or they go, "Fuck me, that's amazing." That's the difference.
Yep.
Yeah. And my job has always been to spot the difference between those two things. Often, in ABTY, that was it. It's like I can see that, and so if somebody, a lot of the time when I'm coaching, for example, and people in this area, and people say, "Well, I've been thinking about this, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking I've got a dog training business," and they can talk for half an hour. And I can see that. I can usually see the little thing that, yeah, that's the thing. That's it. That one. If you can just dramatize that, you've got a great business. Yeah.
Yep. I love that. I ask this question of all my guests, and I'm really intrigued to know where you're going to take this. What does the phrase "always better than yesterday" mean to you?
I did think about clearly a little bit before we spoke as to what that does mean to me, because what it does mean, and I really like this element of my interpretation of it, because I'm aware it could be interpreted in lots of ways, is it's about incremental change. And that, I really like that in my life and in my business. Sometimes you need to do the fuck it and kind of leap and make the big thing. Which we do. Clearly, we do occasionally. We're not averse to doing that. But what I love is the kind of slowly bringing in habits and being a bit better in, like, even in the business, being a bit better each month. The figures being a bit better. The amount of times I do a Facebook Live, do it a bit more often. So it's that thing. And in myself, it's that. It's eating a little bit less in the way of toast and butter every day and walking a little bit more. Yeah. So I really feel that thing of like this gentle movement in the right direction.
Yeah. For some people, it's a case of, fuck it. Why do I need to be better? Why do I want to be better? And I've come to the conclusion that it's being better than yesterday is the result of when you put love first.
Yeah.
When you do what you love, when you be someone that you love, you show up in ways that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise, that leave you and others around you better.
Yeah, that's nice. Beautiful. That's a beautiful way to do it.
Well, it's funny because, I've been hosting this podcast for a couple of years. But that clarity is still coming, and I guess that's the evolution of doing what you love, and you just continuously pursue it, right?
It's true. I mean, and that does carry, and that's what a little bit what I meant about the verb in it. The iteration of an idea, because what you're doing with this is you've created a really nice idea that is a viral, catchy idea that intrigues people, and then you're seeing that comes from you, but you're seeing what bits of you fit under that and the different sense of the meaning, and that is really sweet. That's a really nice way of leaving it.
So firstly, just want to say thank you for taking time out of your day to come spend it with our community. I will add all your links and the good stuff in the show notes, which will contain all the links to all your books. What's 2021 got in store for you? I know that the retreats have been put on hold but what's coming up second half of the year?
Well, retreats, actually, we're doing 2 or 3 retreats.
Yeah.
What we spend our time, it's interesting. We had a year, 2 years maybe before the pandemic, we were starting, we each do a membership that we open once a year. So we do quite a bit of online stuff, but we're really excited about getting back to the retreats as well. We did actually do 2 last year in the little window of kind of breath between different waves around Europe. And we're hoping we're going to be doing 2 or 3 this year.
Fantastic. We'll include all that within the show notes and let people know how they can get hold of that.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you
No,
for having me today. It's been really great to chat.
thank you. I'd love it if you would leave us with a final thought from your good self.
Well, my thought will be around just tuning into the best way to use fuck it. I mean, fuck it is a fantastic mantra because when you know it's there and when you can use it, it can just take you in so many different directions. So use fuck it as a mantra when you need it to either go in the yang direction and kind of get on and do things. Fuck it, I'm going to get up and get going and do this stuff. Or when you need to slow down and give up on things and surrender, as you said earlier. So the invitation is to use fuck it as a mantra for allowing you to tune into yourself and the flow of life.
Love it. John, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. You take care.